The night before a major storm arrives, something happens. You notice it because you are paying attention. You notice it because you are watching. You notice it because something feels different. The crows are doing something unusual. The crows that are normally quiet become vocal. The crows that are normally solitary gather in groups. The crows that are normally dispersed converge. The crows that are normally calm become agitated. Something is happening. Something is shifting. Something is changing in the crow world. The storm has not yet arrived. The storm is still hours away. The rain has not yet fallen. The wind has not yet risen. The atmospheric disturbance is not yet visible or obvious to human perception. But the crows know. The crows have information that you do not have. The crows are aware of something. The crows are responding to something that you cannot perceive. Researchers have observed this behavior. Researchers have documented that crows show behavioral changes before storms. Researchers have noted that the changes are often dramatic and significant. But researchers still do not fully understand what the crows know. Researchers still do not fully understand how the crows know. Researchers still do not fully understand what information the crows are accessing. The behavior is real. The knowledge is present. The mystery remains. Tonight you are going to understand what crows do the night before a major storm, and you are going to be left with a profound question. What do crows know about the world that we do not? What is the crow's access to knowledge that is unavailable to human perception? Welcome back to Hidden Backyard Wildlife, the channel where we sit with the small wild lives that share our yards and try to understand what they understand about the world. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe before this video is over, because what you are about to learn is going to change the way you understand animal perception. Because you will finally understand that crows have access to information about the world that humans do not. Crows can perceive changes in the environment that humans cannot perceive. Crows respond to signals that humans do not detect. Today we are walking through 8 things crows do the night before a major storm. What each of those things reveals about crow perception and animal consciousness. What researchers have discovered about animal weather prediction. And why crows demonstrate knowledge of approaching weather that seems to exceed what scientists can explain through conventional understanding. Stay with me from beginning to end because revelation number 6 is the one that explores the possible sensory mechanisms crows might be using. And revelation number 8 is the one that will make you understand that what the crows are doing is exposing a fundamental gap in human understanding. The crows know something. The crows are aware of something. The mystery of what and how is one of the most profound questions in animal science. The behavior is documented. The knowledge is real. The mystery is deep. The first thing that is noticeable when crows sense an approaching storm is that the crows become more vocal. The crows increase their calling. The crows vocalize more frequently. The crows make more sound than usual. The vocalizations intensify. The vocalizations are often alarm calls or warning calls. The calls carry urgency. The calls carry a quality of alarm or alertness. The calls sound different from typical social vocalizations. The crows seem to be communicating something to each other. The crows seem to be transmitting information. The crows seem to be warning the community. The vocalizations often intensify as the storm approaches. The further the approach, the more vocal the crows become. The intensity of calling correlates with the proximity of the storm. The calling may serve multiple functions. The calling may communicate warning. The calling may coordinate gathering behavior. The calling may express agitation or concern. The calling may be a form of prediction sharing within the crow community. The crows that hear the calls respond. Other crows gather. Other crows become alert. The alarm spreads through the crow population. The calling persists through the night. The crows continue vocalizing as the storm draws closer. The calling may intensify further as the storm arrives. Some observers report that the calling becomes almost frantic as the storm approaches. The intensity is striking. The urgency is apparent. The calling eventually subsides as the storm passes. As the danger passes, the calling diminishes. The alertness recedes. The crows return to normal behavior. The significance of the calling is unclear. The meaning of the calls is not fully understood, but the presence of the calling in the pre-storm period is consistent and documented. Researchers studying corvid vocalizations have found increased calling rates before severe weather events, with call patterns changing in intensity and frequency, in apparent correlation with approaching storms, suggesting that crows communicate about weather changes and that vocalization patterns may reflect awareness of approaching disturbances. The calling is real, the warning seems present, the meaning is mysterious. Along with increased vocalization comes a change in spatial distribution. Crows that are typically solitary or in small groups begin to gather. Crows converge. Crows assemble. Crows create larger aggregations than typical. The gathering often happens at specific locations. The locations are often sheltered. The locations are often locations that have been identified as safe. The locations are often locations that provide some protection from weather. The gathering can be dramatic. In some cases, dozens of crows converge on a location. In some cases, hundreds of crows have been observed gathering before major storms. The gathering seems purposeful. The assembly seems organized. The convergence seems intentional rather than accidental. The timing of the gathering is significant. The gathering often happens hours before the storm arrives. The crows are gathering before the storm is imminent. The crows are anticipating. The location selection is significant. The gathering locations are typically places that offer shelter, trees with dense foliage, structures with overhanging elements, locations that provide some protection from rain and wind. The gathering persists through the evening and into the night. The crows remain assembled. The assembly maintains cohesion. The gathering holds until the storm arrives or passes. The assembly creates safety through numbers. The gathering may provide protection through collective presence. The gathering may provide warmth through proximity. The gathering may provide psychological comfort through community. The assembly also may serve a communication function. The gathering allows information sharing. The gathering allows coordination of behavior. The gathering may be a form of collective response to the anticipated threat. The gathering is not random. The locations chosen are consistent. Different storms may result in gathering at the same locations. The pattern is repeated. Researchers studying pre-storm crow behavior have found evidence of gathering and assembly behavior before severe weather, with crows showing apparent preparation for weather events through location selection and group assembly, suggesting that crows anticipate weather changes and make intentional preparations. The gathering is documented, the assembly is real, the preparation is shown. Before the storm arrives, crows often increase their feeding activity. The crows forage more intensely. The crows seek food more actively. The crows spend more time feeding. The crows accumulate more resources. The increased feeding often begins hours before the storm. The crows are feeding as if preparing. The crows are accumulating resources. The crows are preparing for the storm. The feeding behavior suggests anticipation. The crows seem to know that feeding will become difficult. The crows seem to know that foraging during the storm will be impossible or dangerous. The crows are preparing. The intensity of feeding varies with the expected severity of the storm. More severe storms may trigger more intense feeding. Less severe storms may trigger less intense feeding. The response seems proportional to the predicted danger. The feeding is often focused on high-energy foods. The crows seek foods that provide calories. The crows accumulate resources that will sustain them. The feeding is strategic. The crows may also engage in food caching. The crows may store food. The crows may hide resources in preparation for the storm. The caching behavior suggests anticipation of scarcity. The feeding continues until the storm becomes imminent. As the storm approaches and conditions deteriorate, feeding becomes impossible. The crows retreat to shelter. The preparation phase ends. After the storm passes, the feeding intensity returns to normal. The emergency preparation ends. The behavior returns to baseline. The significance of this behavior is striking. The crows are behaving as if they know that a storm is coming. The crows are behaving as if they know that foraging will become impossible. The crows are preparing ahead of time. Researchers studying animal behavior before storms have found evidence of increased feeding activity in birds before severe weather, with animals showing apparent preparation through food accumulation, suggesting that animals anticipate weather changes and prepare physically for environmental challenges. The feeding is purposeful, the preparation is evident, the anticipation is clear. As the storm approaches, the crows begin to secure their shelter locations. The crows move to locations where they will roost. The crows identify safe places. The crows move into protective spots. The crows prepare sleeping locations. The roosting locations are chosen carefully. The locations offer protection from rain. The locations offer protection from wind. The locations offer some shelter and safety. The crows may test locations. The crows may check potential roosts. The crows may verify that the locations are suitable. The pre-storm period includes a phase of location scouting. The crows gather at the roosting locations before the storm arrives. The crows settle in before conditions deteriorate. The crows are in place before the rain and wind become dangerous. The roosting locations are typically predictable. Crows often return to the same roosts. Crows may have preferred roosting locations. The locations are known and established. The roosting behavior may be more pronounced before severe storms. The urgency of finding shelter may be greater. The crows may move to roosts earlier than typical. The timing seems adjusted to the severity. The crows remain in the roosts during the storm. The crows stay sheltered. The crows emerge only after the storm passes. The shelter provides protection. The selection of roosts before the storm arrives is a form of preparation. The crows are securing their safety. The crows are preparing refuge. The crows are anticipating the need for shelter. The behavior is coordinated. Multiple crows may roost together. The community may gather at shared roosting sites. The coordination suggests communication and planning. Researchers studying animal sheltering behavior have found evidence of increased shelter seeking before severe weather, with animals showing apparent anticipation of environmental challenges through location selection and movement, suggesting that animals predict weather changes and prepare shelter ahead of time. The sheltering is strategic, the preparation is evident, the anticipation is shown. Beyond the specific behaviors, crows often show signs of general agitation or stress before storms. The crows seem restless. The crows seem unable to settle. The crows move about more. The crows appear to be in a heightened state of alert. The body language changes. The crows seem tense. The crows seem vigilant. The crows seem prepared for something. The emotional state seems altered. The crows seem anxious. The crows seem concerned. The crows seem aware that something is coming. The agitation increases as the storm approaches. The closer the storm, the more agitated the crows. The anxiety seems to grow. The awareness seems to sharpen. The agitation seems purposeful rather than random. The crows are not just becoming agitated for no reason. The crows seem to be responding to something. The crows seem to be aware of an impending threat. The agitation may serve an adaptive function. The heightened alert may prepare the crows for action. The elevated state may enable quick response. The agitation may be part of the preparation. The agitation also may reflect genuine concern or fear. The crows may experience something akin to anxiety about the storm. The crows may be afraid of what is coming. The agitation may reflect this emotional state. The agitation subsides as the storm approaches and the crows seek shelter. Once the crows are safely sheltered, the agitation diminishes. Once the danger is avoided, the anxiety recedes. The agitation returns briefly when the storm passes and conditions improve. The crows may remain somewhat agitated even as the storm clears. The return to complete calm may be gradual. The consistency of this behavioral pattern across multiple storms and multiple crows suggests that the agitation is not random. The pattern suggests genuine response to something. The pattern suggests awareness. Researchers studying animal stress responses have found physiological and behavioral indicators of stress and anxiety in animals before adverse weather events, with animals showing increased vigilance, restlessness, and stress behaviors before storms, suggesting that animals are aware of and emotionally responding to approaching weather changes. The agitation is real, the stress seems genuine, the awareness appears present. How do crows know? This is the question that researchers struggle with. Several theories have been proposed. The theories address different possible sensory mechanisms. None of the theories fully explains the phenomenon. One theory involves barometric pressure sensing. Crows may be sensitive to changes in atmospheric pressure. The drop in pressure that precedes a storm may be detectable by crows. The crows may sense this change. But the mechanism is unclear. Birds have inner ear structures that might sense pressure changes, but the sensitivity and the reliability of pressure sensing in birds are not well understood. The theory is plausible but unproven. Another theory involves electromagnetic sensitivity. Storms involve electrical activity. Thunderstorms generate electromagnetic disturbances. Crows may be sensitive to electromagnetic changes. The crows may detect the electromagnetic signature of the approaching storm. But the mechanism is unclear. Some animals demonstrate electromagnetic sensitivity, but corvids have not been confirmed as electromagnetically sensitive. The theory is intriguing but speculative. Another theory involves wind pattern changes. Storms are accompanied by wind shifts. The wind pattern may change hours before the storm arrives. Crows may be sensitive to wind changes. The crows may detect the altered wind patterns. This theory is plausible. Wind sensing through feather movement or air flow sensation is feasible. Crows may have sufficient sensitivity, but confirmation is lacking. Another theory involves infrasound detection. Storms generate low-frequency sound. Infrasound below human hearing range is produced by storms. Some animals can detect infrasound. Crows may be sensitive to infrasound generated by approaching storms. This theory has merit. Some animals are known to detect infrasound. Crows may possess this sensitivity, but proof is lacking. Another theory involves olfactory detection. Storms may generate distinctive odors. Ozone production, moisture changes, atmospheric composition changes may create detectable smells. Crows have sensitive olfaction. The crows may smell the storm. This theory is possible, but the role of olfaction in weather prediction is not established. The reality is that researchers do not know with certainty how crows detect approaching storms. Multiple sensory mechanisms may be involved. The crows may integrate information from multiple senses. The detection may involve sophisticated sensory processing that humans do not fully understand. The mystery is profound. The mechanism is unknown. The crow's knowledge exceeds human understanding. Researchers studying animal weather prediction have proposed multiple theories about sensory mechanisms. With pressure sensitivity, electromagnetic sensitivity, and other mechanisms being investigated, but no definitive explanation existing for how animals reliably predict severe weather in advance. The detection is real, the mechanism is mysterious, the understanding is incomplete. What is most striking about pre-storm crow behavior is that it suggests a form of consciousness or awareness that exceeds what we typically attribute to birds. The crows are not just reacting to present conditions. The crows are responding to future conditions. The crows are anticipating. The crows are preparing for something that has not yet happened. This requires a form of prediction. This requires an awareness of what is likely to occur. This requires a mental model of the future. This requires consciousness. The behavior suggests that crows have an understanding of weather patterns. The crows understand that certain signs precede storms. The crows understand that storms bring danger. The crows understand that preparation is necessary. The behavior suggests that crows have memory of past storms. The crows remember what storms are like. The crows remember that danger is associated with storms. The crows remember that shelter is necessary. The behavior suggests that crows have the ability to generalize from experience. The crows recognize patterns. The crows understand that current signs predict future events. The crows transfer learning from past storms to current situations. All of this suggests a level of consciousness that is sophisticated. The crows are not just operating on instinct. The crows are thinking. The crows are planning. The crows are aware. But the nature of this consciousness is not fully understood. The crows may experience the awareness differently than humans. The crows may know in ways that are foreign to human knowing. The mystery is profound. The crows are demonstrating capabilities that exceed our understanding. The crows are aware of something. The nature of that awareness is unclear. Some researchers suggest that the behavior provides evidence of animal consciousness. The apparent prediction and planning suggest that consciousness is not unique to humans. The behavior suggests that other beings have awareness and understanding. Other researchers are more cautious. They suggest that the behavior may be instinctive. They suggest that the behavior may not require the level of consciousness that casual observation suggests. But the behavior remains striking. The crows are doing something that appears intelligent. The crows are demonstrating something that appears conscious. Whether we fully understand it or not, the behavior is undeniable. Researchers studying animal consciousness have proposed that pre-storm behaviors in animals may provide evidence of consciousness and forward-thinking in non-human animals, with behaviors suggesting prediction and planning abilities that indicate more sophisticated cognition than traditionally attributed to birds. The awareness is demonstrated, the consciousness is apparent, the understanding is incomplete. And this is the revelation that explains the deepest significance of pre-storm crow behavior. The crows know something that humans do not know. The crows have access to information. The crows can perceive signals. The crows can detect changes. The crows can predict consequences. Humans, with all of our technology and science, often rely on weather forecasts. The forecasts come from radar. The forecasts come from satellite imagery. The forecasts come from mathematical models. The forecasts come from sophisticated technology. Yet the crows know. The crows predict the weather. The crows respond to approaching storms. The crows demonstrate knowledge that humans must achieve through technology. This raises a profound question. What is the nature of the crow's knowledge? The crow does not have weather radar. The crow does not have satellite imagery. The crow does not have computational models. The crow has something else. The crow has senses that may detect what humans cannot detect. The crow has awareness that may access what humans cannot access. The crow has consciousness that may know what human consciousness does not know. This suggests that there are forms of knowledge in the world that humans have not fully understood. This suggests that there are ways of knowing that humans do not possess. This suggests that consciousness and awareness are more diverse than we have recognized. The crow is demonstrating that a being can know, a being can predict, a being can prepare, a being can act on knowledge that exceeds the knowledge available to humans through human senses and technology. This is humbling. This is profound. This is a reminder that human knowledge is not the only knowledge. Human consciousness is not the only consciousness. Human ways of knowing are not the only ways of knowing. The crow knows the storm is coming. The crow responds to the approaching danger. The crow demonstrates knowledge and awareness. The crow teaches us that there is much we do not understand about how knowledge works and how consciousness expresses itself. The behavior of crows before storms is a window into a world that we do not fully understand. The behavior shows us that other beings know things. Other beings are aware of things. Other beings can predict and prepare. The mystery of how crows know is a reminder that the world is far more complex and far more mysterious than we typically recognize. The crows are holding knowledge. The crows are accessing information. The crows are demonstrating capabilities that we cannot fully explain. This is one of the most profound mysteries in animal science. This is one of the most striking demonstrations of animal intelligence and awareness. This is evidence that other beings understand the world in ways that we do not fully comprehend. Before I go, I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer in the comments below. Have you ever noticed crow behavior before a storm? Have you observed increased calling or gathering? Have you seen crows preparing? Have you wondered what the crows know? Tell me about it. What did you observe? When did you notice the changes? How long before the storm did the behavior begin? Did the behavior match what you are learning here? The stories this hidden backyard wildlife community shares are some of the most intriguing I read every week. And every single one of them matters, because every single one of them is a story about witnessing intelligence in creatures we thought we understood, about observing awareness in beings we thought were simple, about recognizing that knowledge exists in forms we have not fully acknowledged. If anything in this video changed the way you understand crows, if it changed what you see when you observe crow behavior before storms, share it with someone who would understand. Sometimes the right perspective at the right moment changes not just what we notice but what we recognize about the world, that other beings know, other beings understand, other beings perceive. Thank you for being here at Hidden Backyard Wildlife. The next time you see crows behaving strangely or intensely, pause. Recognize that something is happening. Recognize that the crows know something. Recognize that you are witnessing something significant. The crows are demonstrating knowledge. The crows are showing awareness. The crows are expressing an understanding of something. What that something is remains mysterious, but the demonstration is clear. The crows know. The crows understand. The crows are aware. We do not fully understand how. We do not fully understand what. But we can recognize that the knowledge is present. We can acknowledge that the awareness is real. The crow's knowledge of the coming storm is a reminder that consciousness and awareness take many forms. That knowledge exists in ways we have not fully explained. That other beings understand the world in ways we do not fully comprehend. This is the mystery. This is the wonder. This is the profound recognition that the natural world contains knowledge that we have not yet learned to read. The crows know. We are still learning what that means.